Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so thrilled to see you all here today. Glad you found it. Hopefully you're all in the right spot. This is Teachers College Fall Orientation Program. My name is Maria Hater. I'm the Director of Student Affairs here at TC, and I'm thrilled beyond words to see all of you here. So we're as excited as you are. We've been doing this for quite a while. We've been planning and prepping and hopefully making this day as successful as possible for you. But before we start, I need to acknowledge two very, very amazing people that literally they make me look good. And I do look good a lot, but they make me look better, even better today. This is Yvonne Destin. She's the Director of Student Affairs, that's me. Director of Student Activities and Programs, and this is Deanne DiCrescenzo, Associate Director. They did this, all of this. Yes, literally. I just stand up here and take the credit for it all, but they did it. So if you see them today, and just speaking, the people in these lovely blue shirts, they are quite nice, and the ones that say volunteers on them are here to help you. Any question, do not be embarrassed to ask us anything. We still get lost at TC, and we've been here a long time. Seriously. I still get lost. And if you need anything, we're here to help you today. And if we can't find the answer, we'll find someone who can. Okay? That's our promise to you. Whatever that means, we're here since real early this morning. We'll be here till really late tonight. So anytime you have a question, I promise we'll do the best we can to help you. Not only today, but hopefully through your entire career here. So this is just one little aspect of what we do at Teachers College, okay? So welcome, enjoy. Please turn off your phones, cell phones, be respectful of our speakers, and anything else. Trust me, we can get our texts and Instagrams and all that fun stuff in a little bit, okay? So without further ado, I'd like to start our program and welcome Dr. Susan Furman, the President of Teachers College.
Thank you, Maria. Hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness, all the way up there. Welcome, welcome. It's absolutely thrilling to welcome you this morning. I know I met a number of you at our various admitted student events, and I'm so happy you took my advice and decided to actually come and be here. And it's so exciting. And it's particularly exciting because, as you know, we're in the midst of celebrating our 125th anniversary. It's been a year-long, wonderful celebration. And today is a particular high point because, as you may have already heard, we are going to dedicate TC Way, Teachers College Way, the co-naming of 120th Street, which later this morning, and we will have events all week for TC Week. 120th Street used to be, when I was here as a student, I'm not going to say how many years ago, the widest street in the world. As you'll learn, it's not. We have many, many wonderful activities and collaborations with Columbia. But naming it TC Way and actually getting it paved for the occasion are two huge accomplishments of our 125th year. We've been talking all this year, we've been reflecting on TC's history and the legacy of FIRST, the trails TC has blazed over so many decades, creating and building entirely new fields of inquiry and generating ideas that have had a positive influence here in New York and all over the world. And now TC's legacy is yours to build on. Just as TC graduates helped shape the 19th and 20th centuries, so too will you have a lasting impact on this still young century. And I'm confident that you'll lead the way to a better future and create your own legacy of FIRST with a 21st century twist. The diversity of this entering class ensures that you'll make your marks in distinctive ways. Many of you come to TC freshly minted college graduates, including our youngest new student. Do you want to guess how old our youngest new student is? 20 years old. Is that 20-year-old here? Oh, hello. Yay. Welcome, youngest student from Miramar, Florida. So we have two 20-year-olds. Okay, well, that's great. We have another one who is enrolling in our master's program in applied behavioral analysis and a recipient of our Abby O'Neill Fellowship, which will support students pursuing dual certifications in areas of teaching with high need and high demand in New York City public schools. Some of you bring an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and for new beginnings, like your 60-year-old classmate. I will not ask that person to identify themselves, who is enrolling from Trinidad and Tobago to begin his studies as a doctoral student in mathematics education. And of course, many of you come from the Northeast and the New York area, but more than 2/3 of you come from everywhere else in the country and the world, including California and Texas, China, South Korea, Canada, Chile, Brazil, and India. The first leg of any new journey can give travelers of any age or background a case of the jitters. And there's a wonderful story about the eminent U.S. Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. When he was 88 years old, he boarded a northbound train from Washington, D.C., and immersed himself immediately in reading legal briefs. So the conductor came over and asked him for his ticket, and he could not find his ticket, and he furiously went through everything, all his pockets, his briefcase, he looked everywhere. He was in a frenzy trying to find his ticket. And the conductor finally said, "Mr. Justice, there's no cause for alarm. You can email, excuse me, there was no email then. You can mail the ticket to the company at your convenience." And Holmes exploded. He said, "I don't care about the damn ticket. I just want to know where I'm supposed to be going." And because no one can predict with absolute certainty the outcome of a journey, you can't predict with absolute certainty the outcome of your journey through Teachers College. So it makes a great deal of sense to care about your ticket of admission to TC. What does it mean to join a great community of scholars? Why TC? Let me tell you what one Teachers College graduate had to say about this when he addressed his classmates at convocation last May. Saul Martinez, who received 2 master's degrees in psychological counseling, told his fellow graduates that the true gem of Teachers College is not in the classes we've taken, though they are crucial, or in the Ivy League reputation. Rather, it is in all of us. It is in our discussions and collaborations. It is in our meetings with advisors, in the programs we create and sustain outside of the classroom. Teachers College has made us more critical thinkers, empathetic servants, active researchers, and innovative educators. I could not have said it better. Saul aptly described what all successful TC students accomplish. They seize the best opportunity they will ever have to be true intellectual adventurers. They learn from and work with world-class scholars and practitioners in health, psychology, nutrition, and education. And they take advantage of our affiliation with Columbia University and our location in New York to expand their academic and cultural horizons. I call this a luxury, an intellectual luxury, and I urge you to be self-indulgent. Talking about luxury in graduate education is a bit of an oxymoron, and I know it certainly is financially for virtually all of you. But it's an intellectual luxury that I hope that you enjoy. This is a unique time in your lives. You're not answering to your parents or following a prescribed set of courses the way that you did in undergraduates. You're not here taking responsibility for clients or students or reporting to superiors or functioning in a job situation. You're here for one reason, and that is to satisfy your intellectual curiosity. So please do that. Please indulge yourself. Follow all the questions you have. Ask new questions and create a path for yourselves that enables you to take as much advantage of this environment as possible. By making the most of all that TC has to offer, you'll be on your way to creating your own unique legacy. In doing so, you'll join the ranks of our distinguished alumni. They were in your shoes once, new to TC and uncertain of what the future would bring. Did Nahas Angula know that he would return to his native Namibia to help shape the post-apartheid education system in the newly independent nation and later be elected prime minister? Did Food Network star Ellie Krieger know that she would become a television personality and best-selling author who would become an influential voice on nutrition, healthy eating, and the obesity crisis? Did Angela Santamaro know she would leverage her TC degree in developmental psychology into creating shows such as Blue's Clues and becoming among this generation's most successful visionaries and chief executives in children's television? You'd be surprised to learn how many leaders and pioneers began their defining journeys to phenomenal achievement and leadership right where you sit now as entering students at Teachers College. I expect it won't be long after you earn your degrees that I'll be bragging about you in speeches to new students. We're all counting on you to make your TC education mean something. Seek the truth as intellectual explorers. Foster originality. We look to you to become the creators of new knowledge, which is the raison d'etre of every great academic institution. Teach your professors and mentors a thing or two. And as you take your place as citizens of Teachers College, embrace all possibilities and go forth to create a new legacy for generations to come. Welcome to Teachers College. I now want to introduce our Provost and Chief Academic Officer of Teachers College, Dr. Thomas James.
Thank you, Susan, and good morning, all. Welcome to Teachers College, and welcome to Columbia University. I was looking at the New York Times this morning, and you'll probably pick this up somewhere along the line in the day today. And there's an article about this woman, Naiad, who just swam 110 miles without a shark cage from Cuba to Florida. She's the first human being ever to do that. And I was thinking, because they had in the quote of the day, when you open the New York Times and on the inside of the second page, there's a quote of the day. And she had advice. And I was thinking, well, here I am. I'm going to be offering advice, to incoming students. And what she said when she finished was, never, ever stop trying. That was her first piece of advice. The second one was, and it's very interesting, never stop trying. She tried to do this before and failed, and many others have as well. And the second was, no matter how old you are, she's 64 years old, this woman who swam that 110 miles, no matter how old you are, never stop chasing your dreams. And the third one was, even though you're doing this yourself, remember that you're part of a team. There's a whole network of people who are going to support you. And so what I'd like to do, kind of along similar lines is, in the role that I play, as the one that works closely with faculty in developing and evaluating their programs, advancing their research and their careers in knowledge and exploration, and also in thinking broadly about the ways that our academic culture can serve students. I'd like to share with you, three values that I have. They're a little bit different from swimming 110 miles without a shark cage, but what we do here requires great effort, and it's something that there's exertion, there's exploration, there's perseverance. And so within that, at the heart of that, there are some values that kind of drive us as an academic community. And this is my take on this. This is not exactly what you're going to read in the catalog, although it mirrors a number of things that Susan Furman said in her remarks. One of those values for me is that we really are seeking truth, as she said. That when you are trying to improve educational outcomes for underprivileged children, if you're trying to help those who are disabled to have more mobility and more mental agility and more opportunity, if you're working in leadership and you're trying to figure out better ways that institutions can perform and deliver on what they do, you have to make sure that the knowledge you are using is as insightful and deep and true as possible. Because if you fail in that, you're going to be failing those people that you're trying to help. And so that truthfulness, which is the essence of both scientific and humanistic inquiry, is really at the heart of our community. And we're constantly seeking to know more, to understand better how human beings learn and how they advance in developing opportunity, how you can reduce disparities and inequalities that exist in access to education and health and psychological counseling and other things. And that truthfulness also has another dimension, which I think really is important for you, as it is for our faculty. Our faculty need to tell the truth because their work goes through peer review processes where their colleagues look at it. And if they're exaggerating, if they're misleading, if they're distorting what is actually true about human learning, for example, if that's what we're studying, they're going to be caught and criticized, and they're going to have to change and improve and deepen their vision. For you, truthfulness also means, use your own work, develop your own insights. Don't plagiarize, don't use other people's work, think it through, come to conclusions and study and come to conclusions. Talk with one another, but, find your own understanding of it. And, don't rely on the article you can download from the internet, because if you don't understand it, you might be perpetuating an untruth. And if you're a professional out in the world and you don't have that understanding, you might not be using what we know in the best possible way. We're really serious about this as a college, as a university. This is something that's at the heart of what we do. And we take it very seriously in debate, and we're constantly arguing with each other about whether there's a better interpretation or a deeper way of seeing this, or a more powerful outcome that we can find. For example, in the learning of mathematics, there's a lot of debate right now about what is most going to help young people learn math. And there are all kinds of people engaged in that debate, and they're all seeking to know the truth of this, whether they're in cognitive science or teacher education or whatever it may be, those who organize schools. And it's important that we get that right, that we're not using untruth. And so I say to you in your own lives, take that to heart and tell the truth and explore deeply what is most true in education and health and psychology. That's what we're all about, and I think if you join us in that, it'll be a wonderful quest for you, and that's what our academic community is most passionate about. The second value, I'm going to do three, like the lady that swam the 110 miles. So the second one, and the second value that's deeply important to me, but I also think it really resonates with the history of Teachers College, this 125 years of this institution that has been striving to do the most important work in education and related fields. And that is that our knowledge does not remain static. In a way, it's a corollary of that first value, that what you learn in one class, what you get in a master's degree, even what you achieve in doing a doctorate, in doing a dissertation, and doing advanced, new, original research in a field, that's just a starting point, for continuous inquiry. And it's interesting because as we evaluate programs, as I talk with faculty and we look at what you will be studying, that's continually undergoing change. As our knowledge changes, as social practice changes within institutions, and indeed, even as the whole context that we're in, our world is changing. The demographic structure of this society is different from what it was 25 years ago. The intercommunication taking place in the world, the migration, the advanced communications, presents us with different problems and different opportunities. And so, the knowledge that we're using, it can't just be stamped on you in one moment. What you're going to learn here is going to be an invitation to continue a life of study and exploration and deepening of your understanding. That's also true of doctors, and it's true of other professionals, that they can't remain static. You don't want to have a knee operation from a doctor using the technologies of 50 years ago. You want to have the most advanced, the least intrusive, the most effective form of operation that you could have if you have a knee problem. In a similar way, if you're involved in learning, you want to know what the best knowledge is. You want to know what the most effective practices are, and that's going to continue to evolve. And that's the kind of community that we are. When you come into this, you're among a group of people who are really committed to that continuous growth of knowledge. And being in a profession means just that. It means that you're not just going to have one set of options that you're going to follow. It's going to evolve and change as you go forward and learn more. So the third thing I want to say about Teachers College, and again, this is something that I feel deeply, but I think it's completely shared within our faculty. Certainly that 125-year tradition of this institution that began in the late 19th century in an era of tremendous social change, the greatest migration at that time that the world had ever known. And New York City had grown into unwieldy proportions. It was almost ungovernable at that time. Poverty had expanded. There was a lot of inequality. There were just many, many social problems in the late 19th century of that kind, and that was where Teachers College was born. And we were born in a spirit of social commitment, that we want to make a difference in human lives. We want to improve people's access to learning and to opportunity and to advancement in their lives. We're not an armchair institution. We're not a place that's sitting back and writing articles for the shelf. We are actually engaged in communities, in schools, in clinics, in many, many ways across the fields that we have here. And this is a committed life. We want to make a difference. And you're going to hear phrases like health disparities and social justice and overcoming inequality. And it's very much at the heart of what we're trying to do, that we would like to make the society one that, and of course the world society, one that is more open to the opportunities of all people, whatever their social background, whatever their ability or disability. We're there to make things really move forward and provide greater opportunity. And that passion, that commitment for social action is something that you will hear around the intellectual work in your classes. And in the end, they're not separable. They cannot be pulled apart. The intellectual work that we're doing is aiming toward making a difference in the world. And so that for me, I haven't swum 110 miles without a shark cage, but when I think of that New York Times quote of the day, those are values that I hold very dear. And I think, as Susan said, the chief academic officer, I talk with faculty within that framework and that way of thinking all the time. The last thing I want to say to you is, again, perhaps at a personal level, but it's something that you're going to hear from the people doing student activities. You heard it some from Susan and her notion of the kind of luxury that exists here, which is one of intellectual exploration. You're going to hear it from the student body president as well. And I look back in my own life, and this time in graduate school was really important in forming what I became as an adult. I did a lot of exploration as an undergraduate. I learned many things, and I took many kinds of courses. But there was something that happened of, the channel, kind of coming together and getting a sense of what I really wanted to do in my life, and getting a set of skills and knowledge and a professional community that I felt I could really make a contribution. And I remember my professors, other students, talking with them and, just beginning to clarify that and, coming out with a sense that here's some things I really want to do now in a very clear path. And I think that Teachers College can do that for you. And I think it can give you a base that you can really build a lifetime of productive, satisfying professional work and really making a contribution. And I wish you well in that. And we're here to help you. And I look forward to meeting many, many of you in the coming weeks. Thank you.
It began with a new vision of education that placed the learner right at the center. A commitment to bring the fruits of education to everyone. A belief in teaching to the whole child, intellectual, physical, and psychological. A recognition that the magic of real understanding occurs through direct experience and hands-on exploration. A passion for applying the scientific method to learning itself. Out of their vision has come a remarkable track record of inventing and shaping fields of study, ranging from nursing education to the study of gifted children to spirituality and psychology. At TC, we call these contributions our legacy of firsts. But at TC, History isn't just the past, it's a living legacy that guides our work today in meeting the challenges of the future. Today, through neuroscience and cognitive research, we continue to break new ground in understanding how people learn. We are equipping a new generation of educators with this knowledge and shaping a new vision of technology that can tailor instruction to the needs of each student. We are strengthening schools and their communities through our programs in psychology, health, and nutrition. We are leaders in providing evidence-based research to guide the nations in developing more effective policies and programs. And through our 90,000 alumni, the impact of Teachers College is being amplified across the country and around the world. These accomplished educators and leaders in education, psychology, and health are putting their bold ideas to work in order to create a world that is smarter, healthier, more prosperous, and more just. Teachers College, celebrating a tradition for tomorrow.
Good morning. I now have the pleasure of introducing Robert Cox Jr., who is the president of the Student Senate. He prefers to be called Bobby, and he's from New Orleans, Louisiana. He moved to New York City to study psychology and education in the clinical psychology department at Teachers College, with a focus on serving underrepresented populations, namely Hispanic immigrants. As the new Student Senate president, Bobby hopes to advocate for campus diversity and to provide a voice to all students. Bobby, come on up.
So good morning, everybody, and welcome to New York City, and more importantly, welcome to Teachers College. And I'd like to begin by congratulating everyone on being part of one of the largest entering classes of Teachers College, especially on the day that we celebrate the 125th anniversary since our first inaugural class at Teachers College. So let's have a brief round of applause for your accomplishments. So I remember being where you are just 1 year ago and how excited and privileged I felt to be accepted to this historic institution. After I learned I had been accepted, my mother and I visited TC to marvel at the majestic buildings and to reflect upon my journey here, just as I'm sure you've been contemplating either alone or with your family and friends, because we all have different journeys here, but the reality is we're all here today. You see, I wasn't slated to go to college, and I especially was not destined for an Ivy League institution with a unique history of firsts like Teachers College. I come from a small fishing town on the coast of Louisiana, actually 2 hours away from Louisiana. And I grew up with a father who had only an 8th grade education and a mother who was a homemaker with a high school diploma. And education really wasn't seen as the key to success or the key to doing away with the injustices that we see every day. I didn't even learn what college was until I was in high school, but I sure did know what injustice was from a very young age. As a gender nonconforming boy who preferred to play with Barbie instead of G.I. Joe, I was ostracized by my father, who's now my biggest fan, actually, but also by my community. I saw injustice at seemingly every turn in my community: racism, sexism, homophobia, children not having an opportunity to receive a quality education. And I realized that this injustice was bred from ignorance. And I then determined to do my part to rid society of this injustice, of this ignorance. So in high school, when I did learn about college, I willed myself to attend, and I made it happen. It's no coincidence that I ended up in college. I willed myself to do so, and I made it happen. I became the first person in my immediate and extended family to attend university, and there began my history of willing myself to be the first to do many things, just as you willed yourself to be here today. And when I was an undergrad at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, I learned about the theory of microaggressions formulated by Dr. Daryl Wing Su, professor in the Department of Counseling Psychology here. And it was kind of revolutionary for me because it It taught me that there were people out there who recognized the unique injustices that people of color face, that minorities face, sexual minorities, any type of minority. And it kind of radicalized my thinking, and I knew at that moment that I wanted to attend Teachers College, and I wanted to devote myself to ridding the injustices that we see in public education and that we see in our societies. So I also learned that Teachers College was the first professional graduate school for teachers with an emphasis on educating the whole child, as we've seen. And I also learned that Teachers College was dedicated to creating a more just and equitable system of public education in the United States of America. And I also learned that TC had a unique history of firsts. We created the field of educational psychology as a discipline. It was bred here at Teachers College. Who's ever seen a yellow school bus, ridden on a yellow school bus? I'm sure everybody can raise their hands, right? That was bred from an alumni here at Teachers College as well. A TC alum responsible for that. What about the Campaign for Fiscal Equality, or that continuously sues the state of New York to assure equitable funding for NYC public school students? That was bred here at Teachers College as well. So as you've learned today, and as you will continuously hear, Teachers College has a unique legacy of first. And we're attending an institution that truly embodies a commitment to public education and social justice. And it's only with this understanding that we can truly maximize our experience here. So even with the immense amount of innovation that Teachers College has demonstrated over the past 125 years, Teachers College is still continuing its unique tradition of first, and we are all integral to the future of this institution. I know not everyone's journey here is similar to mine, but what we do all have in common is a commitment to social justice, and this institution is the right place for us to truly make a difference in this world. It's no coincidence that I ended up at TC, a school that began with a commitment to social justice for all, especially for immigrants. And it's no coincidence that you ended up here at Teachers College. You willed yourself to be here. We willed ourselves to be here. And now, we have to maximize the unique history of first here, use the unique privilege we all have, and will ourselves to be the first to do something, either the first in our families, the first in our fields, the first in whatever it is that we decide to do. So, in keeping with the commitment of the college to embrace technology as an educational tool in everything that we do, and also to hold ourselves accountable to the goal of being the first to do something, I'd like everyone to take out their phones that you put away and silenced, take a picture of yourself, take a picture of the room, and send out that picture with the hashtag #BeTheFirst. And this will mark the start of your journey to continue TC's tradition of making history. It will help hold yourself accountable to be the first to do something. And later on, we'll have all of these tweets or all of these Instagrams, all these Facebook posts with the hashtag #BeTheFirst, and you have this memory to mark the beginning of your journey. So, as you begin this journey, keep in mind who has walked the halls of TC before you and the mission that was in the forefront of their minds to promote an equitable education system that educates the whole child. So, I'd like to welcome you all to Teachers College. I'd like to encourage you all to join the Student Senate as one way of being the first to do something. And remember, be the first.
Next on our program, we have Ms. Rosalie Seiler, who is the Assistant Director from Columbia University from the Office of Student Services for Gender-Based and Sexual Misconduct, and she's the Deputy Title IX Coordinator for Students' Concerns. Rosalie?
Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to Teachers College and welcome to Columbia University. I'm here representing Student Services for Gender-Based and Sexual Misconduct. And I think the fact that Teachers College has invited me here to speak to you early in the morning really demonstrates the college's commitment to providing an environment that is safe, comfortable for your entire time here as a student. So I want to talk to you briefly about the important policies and procedures that the university has in place to help ensure that your experience here is one that is safe and comfortable. Gender-based misconduct. Student Services for Gender-Based Misconduct is the policy and procedure when students are experiencing gender-based or sexual misconduct on campus. Our office is located on Columbia's campus, but our policies and procedures apply to all Barnard College and all Teachers College students as well, because we know our populations interact with each other on a regular basis. Gender-based misconduct is an umbrella term to describe 5 specific types of behaviors that are covered in our policies and our procedures. I'm going to go over the definitions of those. And the reason why we're going out to our community during orientation and educating our community on our policies and our procedures and the definitions of these behaviors is because these are your rights and your protections while you're here as a student, and they're also the expectations for your behavior. We know that gender-based misconduct can be committed by strangers or acquaintances. It can be committed by anyone regardless of gender, and it occurs between individuals of the same gender or of different gender. So I'm just going to go over our policy definitions really quickly. Sexual harassment we define as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other visual, verbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature when it creates a hostile environment. Our policies also cover gender-based harassment, which we describe as acts of verbal, nonverbal, or physical aggression, intimidation, stalking, or hostility based on gender or gender stereotyping. Our policies also cover intimate partner violence or domestic violence or relationship abuse, which we define as the use of physical violence, coercion, threats, intimidation, stalking, or any other forms of economic, sexual, or emotional abuse directed at a partner in an intimate relationship. Our policies also cover stalking. And stalking behaviors can include any kind of unwanted, non-consensual form of communication or contact, whether that's face-to-face, by telephone, any form of electronic means, unwanted gifts, trespassing, surveillance, or other types of observation. And of course, our policies cover sexual assault. And I'm going to read through the definitions, the language that we use in our policies, because I think it's really important for our community to understand how the university defines these behaviors and what the expectations are for our students' behavior. Sexual assault, non-consensual sexual intercourse, we define as any form of sexual intercourse, anal, oral, or vaginal, however slight, with any object without consent. Intercourse means vaginal or anal penetration by a penis, object, tongue, or finger, and oral copulation. We also have a definition for non-consensual sexual contact, which we define as any intentional sexual touching, however slight, with any object without a person's consent. Intentional sexual contact includes contact with the breasts, buttocks, groin, or touching another with any of these body parts, or making another person touch any of these body parts. Any intentional bodily contact in a sexual manner. You can see our website below where we have the full policy and procedure online. We have the full definitions online. We encourage you to make yourself familiar with our website. You can find it by Googling gender-based misconduct at Columbia or Teachers College, and you'll find the link to our policies and our procedure. You can see that our definition of sexual assault is consent-based, which is important. So we are out educating our community on how the university defines consent. The presence of consent involves explicit communication and mutual approval for the acts in which the parties are or were involved. We expect consent to be enthusiastic. A sexual encounter is considered consensual when individuals willingly and knowingly engage in sexual activity. Consent cannot be procured by the use of physical force, coercion, compelling threats, intimidating behavior. The use of coercion can involve the use of pressure, manipulation, substances, and/or force, and ignoring the objections of another person is a form of coercion. Knowingly engaging in sexual activity with someone who is incapacitated, whether by alcohol or drug use, unconsciousness, or other forms of helplessness, does not constitute consent and is a violation of policy. Incapacitation is a state where one cannot make a rational, reasonable decision because they lack the ability to understand their decision. Incapacity can result from a person's disability, involuntary physical constraint, sleep, alcohol, or other drugs. Previous relationships or previous consent for sexual activity does not imply consent to other forms of sexual activity. Consent to one form of activity does not imply consent to other forms. And silence cannot be interpreted as consent. So you'll see we have a very comprehensive definition of consent. Again, it can be found in our policies and our procedures online. We also want our community to know that if you've experienced any of these behaviors, we want to know. The university wants to know so that we can help. We can help provide a safe environment. We can help stop the behavior. We can help someone find a resolution if possible. But we also want you to know who on campus has to report the information to my office and who can maintain strictly confidential support, meaning that they do not have to report, so that you can make the most informed decision about where you want to seek support and resources if you've experienced any of these behaviors. So on the left, you'll see our strictly confidential resources, and that includes our Rape Crisis Anti-Violence Support Center. It's located on Barnard's campus, but that's a resource for all Columbia and all Teachers College students. They have 24/7 peer advocates who are trained to escort students to the hospital. They're trained on other off-campus resources as well. Counseling and psychological services, they are strictly confidential support. Any medical care provider acting in that role, so if you go see a nurse or a doctor in student medical services, they are strictly confidential. And any clergy in the office of the university chaplain is also confidential. Any other administrator or faculty member on campus is required to report the information to my office, but they do want to hear from you. They do want to support you. We believe it's important for you to understand what the limits of their confidentiality are. So just to clarify, specific reporting options, if you've experienced something and you know you want to report, you can definitely contact my office directly. Again, that's Student Services for Gender-Based and Sexual Misconduct. You can also contact folks directly on Teachers College, including the Office of the Vice Provost or the Vice President for Diversity and Community Affairs. And if you've experienced any form of discrimination, harassment, or gender-based misconduct by a staff or faculty member, the university also wants to know so they can help and stop those behaviors. And that would also go to the same reporting options at Teachers College. And they have another policy on protection from harassment. Lastly, how can you help a friend? So we truly hope that you will not experience any of these behaviors during your time here. You may know someone who has. Just listen and believe non-judgmentally. What someone is telling you, that can be a really wonderful first step in helping someone to move forward in a productive way and to heal from what may have happened to them. And then connect them. If you remember these resources, if you remember the name of our office, which we hope you do, we hope that you'll connect them to us, or you'll connect them to other support and resources on campus so that that person can get the help that they need. And this is our contact information. You can find us easily, again, by Googling us. You can find our office, and we welcome any form of questioning, comments. If anyone wants to have a dialogue about Title IX and these policies and procedures, we'd love to hear from you. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything, and we hope that you have an amazing experience as a student here and a safe and comfortable time on campus. Thank you all for your attention.
We hope you feel welcome so far. Next on the program, we're going to have some general comments from our faculty speaker. And this person is really one of my favorite faculty here at the college, and that's Dr. Leslie Bartlett, who's Associate Professor of Education. She has quite an extensive vita. It's too many pages, so please look her up on the internet in the Department of International and Transcultural Education. But I will say her research interests are centered on anthropology of education, international comparative ed, literacy studies, multilingual studies, immigration and schooling. You get the gist of it, it's a lot. And she is amazing. And she's representative of the faculty who are here, who are very accessible to their students. And her being here just shows you how she wants to welcome you here to the college. So, Dr. Bartlett, please come up.
It's a mutual affection here, Yvonne and I have. So, as Yvonne said, my name is Leslie Bartlett. I'm in the Department of International and Transcultural Studies, Purple Circle, for those of you with your Purple Circle name tag. I want to congratulate you, incoming students of 2013, on navigating your way to Teachers College. Getting here today required a series of victories, including learning about the college, identifying an appropriate program and faculty, steering your way through the admissions process, securing funding to support your decision, and perhaps setting up residence in a new place. You then navigated the city. You found Teachers College. You found your way out of Teachers College to this location. Teachers College buildings are such a labyrinth that we sometimes joke that students should get their degree automatically after learning to navigate those buildings. And to help students navigate the campus, we've posted maps that helpfully indicate you are here. But last year I noticed that a student had added the existential tag, yes, but why? So I want to use my time this morning to consider that question in a more practical way. Why are you here? So first, let us think about the here. Let us think about Teachers College. Created in 1887 to prepare a new type of educator, to educate immigrant children, the college has been home to many of the defining figures in American education. You saw their faces scroll past with the timeline. And John Dewey, Thorndike, Maxine Greene. I will tell you that a bust of John Dewey sits right at the main entrance of Teachers College. You can go talk to him anytime you need inspiration. Teachers College was founded by the philanthropist Grace Dodge and led in its early days by the philosopher Nicholas Murray Butler to provide a new kind of schooling for disadvantaged children in New York City. A kind of schooling that would combine humanitarian concern to help others with a scientific approach to human development. And I would say that that combination is really what marks our work to this day. The founders recognized that professional teachers need reliable knowledge about the conditions under which people learn most effectively. And as a result, the college's earliest programs included educational psychology and sociology combined. That's very unusual for a school of ed. Often psychology is quite dominant, but there's been an effort from the earliest days to combine these approaches. They also insisted, these founders, that education must be combined with clear ideas about ethics and the nature of a good society. Consequently, programs were developed in areas such as the history of education and in comparative education. This is where comparative and international education was born. That linkage of policy and a deep respect for the arts and social sciences continues to mark the college's leadership today. So over the 20th century, the problems facing schools and students became even more complex, and new programs were developed in areas such as counseling, curriculum, school health care to complement this developing holistic approach to learning. After World War II, in response to new professional roles, the college added curricula that reached beyond the traditional educational sphere, including programs in clinical and counseling psychology, speech and language pathology, audiology, post-secondary education, and other fields. In the 1960s, driven by a concern for equity, TC developed programs in urban education and teaching English to speakers of other languages, among others. In the past 25 years, the college has addressed the explosion of educational services outside the traditional school environment by designing programs for educators who will work in clinics and museums and hospitals and non-governmental organizations, libraries, and other non-traditional locations. More recently, and reaffirming its original mission, Teachers College has begun collaborative research with urban and suburban school systems that strengthens teaching in such fundamental areas as reading, writing, science, mathematics, social studies, and the arts. It prepares leaders to develop and administer psychological and healthcare programs in schools, hospitals, and community agencies. It advances technologies for the classroom, developing new teaching software and keeping teachers informed of new developments. Together, Teachers College's three highly complementary and interrelated areas of education, psychology, and health have established the college as a preeminent international human resource development institution, committed to systematic teaching and learning in all the major educative institutions. With more than 60 programs of study, our graduates go on to pursue careers in psychology, social and behavioral sciences, health and health promotion, health education, educational policy, educational technology, educational leadership, and more. We also maintain thriving programs in the arts and social sciences, including the anthropology, economics, history, philosophy, political science, and sociology of education. Our unique blend of foundations and applied courses represents our efforts to combine deep critical thinking and a commitment to positive social change. So that's why Teachers College is here. Why are you at Teachers College? The main purpose for most in attending graduate school is to develop oneself in ways both academic and applied. That is, you want to hone your critical thinking skills and you want to improve your craft and skills in your vocation. You will do that here. But graduate school should also be a place to learn about big ideas and to think beyond the next project or the next job. Teachers College offers courses that question the fundamental ideas we often hold dear. Some of the courses you can take here pose questions like this: what is worth knowing and why? What is a curriculum? What do we mean by learning and human development? How do emotions influence learning? How does physical education influence learning? How do societies handle conflicting visions of what schools should and should not be doing? And what might the specific changes in political and governance processes, how might those changes better facilitate decision-making? How do efforts to produce accountability in schools and among teachers influence curricula and pedagogy? What is public health, and how can the public best be educated about health concerns? Those kinds of questions you will find at the core of your coursework here. While you're here at Teachers College, you will have important choices to make. Which courses will you take? Your program has been carefully planned, the required and the recommended courses. But you should never treat a required course like a simple requirement. Think about the overview of material that is provided and how it links to your own interests and experiences. In discussions with the professor and fellow students, ask questions about what isn't included and why. These questions could open new avenues to you. In addition to these required courses, you'll have electives. Electives provide an amazing opportunity to change your life. I can attest to this personally. When I was an undergraduate English education major at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, got a lot of, yeah, that's right. I was allowed very few electives. One of the electives I chose was a political science course focused on the continent of Africa. And that course completely changed my focus from a primarily domestic focus, US focus, to an international focus. The second elective I chose was a scuba class for diving extended periods underwater. And in the first week of that course, I was assigned a diving partner or a breathing buddy. It's the person you share the regulator with if you run out of air when you're underwater. And I fell head over heels in love with that diver, and 2 kids, and 20 years later, we're still together. So we can't promise you that you'll find your life partner in your elective. Yay! We can't promise you'll find your life partner in your elective, but it has been known to happen. And we do expect that you'll find people who will become your lifelong friend. We also expect that you'll run into ways of thinking, ways of knowing and being that will open new horizons. I've seen 2 strategies work well here. Some students choose according to their future plans. They think about their career and they choose complementary courses. Others choose more by interest area, seeking to broaden or move beyond what they're primarily studying. With either of those, I would tell you that electives choices can be difficult. So I would recommend that you sign up for a couple of them, go the first week, check out the syllabus, think about how the course is set up, and think about which best meets your needs. You can then drop one before the end of the drop-add period. So another choice you need to make while you're here is how you'll make the most of the people, organizations, and experiences available to you in New York City. There are some remarkable people here at Teachers College. We have faculty who are experts in a range of subjects, from musical lives of young children, to reactions to racial discrimination and the impact of microaggressions, to play-based science learning, to accessible pedagogy, to psychometrics, to mathematical problem solving. Don't be shy about visiting faculty during their office hours to discuss their work and your interests. There are also some truly remarkable students here at Teachers College. In fact, I often say that students are the #1 reason to come to TC. The student body is comprised of over 15% international students. I have students who basically spend their summers couch surfing from one friend's home to another to see the world. Our students come from 80 different countries and from all over the United States. They have remarkable life experiences and perspectives, and they are linked to diverse networks. Make sure you take advantage of those opportunities to get to know them. As a student here, you need not limit your experiences to the wealth of courses and expertise at the college. Take advantage of resources in the wider Columbia community. You might attend events or take courses at the School of International and Public Affairs, at the Mailman School of Public Health, or the Forced Migration Program, or the various language programs. But you're not limited to Columbia either. Get on listservs relevant to your interests for the United Nations, New York University, the New School, Fordham, the Graduate Center of the CUNY system, and other universities and institutions that offer speaker series, conferences, and other events. Make every effort to attend and participate. This is a unique time of your life, a luxury, as Dr. Furman mentioned. Of course, New York City is a global city with people from all parts of the world, and within this city, you might engage with organizations that are focused on improving the educational, health, and psychological experiences of immigrants from all over the world. There are also opportunities to engage with the international work being done by faculty and students at Teachers College. I myself, just this summer, was doing some work with Somali and Sudanese refugees in Kenya. And every faculty and student member of my department is doing something in this far-flung world. Places like Mexico, China, Japan, Chad, Brazil, Mexico, Dominican Republic, all over the world. And there are projects that you could get involved with. These opportunities to learn skills, build foundational knowledge, and take part in unprecedented learning opportunities in New York City and around the world are why you're here. So to take full advantage of being here, I want to offer 10 pieces of advice. This advice is culled from faculty and students here at Teachers College and from colleagues in other locations. The first one is be present. The quality of your experience depends on your active participation in the unceasing process of inquiry. The second piece of advice I have to offer is acquire skills and knowledge that are hard to get outside of school. So your first temptation might be to fill your schedule with courses on fascinating subjects, and you won't lack for those here. But I suggest you do that, but also use the university to acquire technical skills, artistic skills, and solid foundational knowledge. Such knowledge and skills depend on your interests and aspirations, of course, but they might include things like research, assessment, and analytical skills, curriculum theory and design, learning theory, social theory, policy analysis, flow theory, design of learning technologies, philosophy, linguistics, media studies, conflict resolution techniques, early childhood development, literacy and the teaching of literacy, or jazz improvisation. It's all here at Teachers College. The third one is think about a life, not just a job. As Martha Nussbaum, a philosopher, wrote in the New York Times, quote, "It's easy to think that classes are mainly about preparing you for a job. But remember, This may be the one time in your life when you have a chance to think about the whole of your life, not just your job. Courses in the humanities, in particular, are vital because they stretch your imagination, end quote. They challenge your mind to become more responsive and think with broader segments of the brain and the body. So I encourage you to think about pursuing those experiences as well. Fourth, seek out the most intellectually adventurous of your fellow students. You have proximity to sharp minds here. That's a great opportunity, and I encourage you to take it. Ask them about the courses they've taken, about organizations to get involved with, and about their own learning experiences. Related to this suggestion, join relevant student groups and attend on-campus events. You'll be amazed by the breadth of student groups at Teachers College. In my department, we have the Association of Latin American Students, the African Studies Working Group, the Development in South Asia Group, the Society for International Education, the Peace Education Network, and the Chinese Student Association. And of course, students from across the college work with those organizations. Other very active student groups on campus include the Black Student Network, the Coalition of Latino Scholars, and the Association of Multilingual Education Scholars. These groups and others like them sponsor talks and conferences and book clubs, other events, films, speaker series. Your time with these groups will be handsomely rewarded. Fifth, hone your analytical skills. Often students are overwhelmed by the scope of knowledge that they encounter in graduate school and by contradictory knowledge and perspectives that are offered in courses. Successful students seek the common practices of argument and analysis. To do this, Gerald Graff, a professor of English and Education at University of Illinois at Chicago, recommends the following. First, he says, pay close attention to what others are saying and writing, and summarize their arguments and assumptions in an understandable way. Work especially on summarizing the views that go most against your own. As you summarize, look not only for the thesis of an argument, but also for the points of controversy. And then, second, use these summaries to motivate what you say or write and indicate why it needs saying. Don't be afraid to give your own opinion, especially if you can back it up with reasons and evidence. But don't disagree with anything without carefully summarizing it first, not just turning it into a straw man. Those analytical skills will serve you well in all of your courses here and in all of your work after your life at Teachers College. Sixth, learn how to write well. Take writing seriously. Consider a course in creative, nonfiction, journalism, or business writing. Read books on writing. Read the newspaper. Read models of good writing in your field. Seventh, apply and challenge the ideas, concepts, and theories that you are learning in your courses by working with local schools and organizations in New York City. The opportunities offered by this city are dazzling. I've known students who've worked with Sauti Yetu or other immigrant organizations, students who've worked with the Council on Foreign Relations, the International Rescue Committee, the Department of Education, dual language programs across the city, the Guggenheim, the American Museum of Natural History, and Advocates for Children of New York, to name just a few. Find an organization that links to your interests and explore the possibilities. Eighth, try careers on for size. Don't wait until you finish your degree. Try out different careers while you're in graduate school, through internships while you're studying, or in the summer. It's a good way for you to network and to pick up skills beyond the classroom. Ninth, go places. Use a summer to live abroad, ideally a place completely different from home, where you'll come to know local people and learn a language. Think about developing conversational skills in the languages of the largest immigrant and minority communities in the US, if that's where you intend to live after your degree. Those might include Spanish, French, Mandarin, Navajo, or another idiom. If you're going to be an educator, a healthcare provider, or a psychologist in the US, these language skills can critically improve the accessibility of public services. Conversation skills are a major step toward inclusion, and they're really best learned in situ. 10th, and probably most important, blow your mind. This advice comes from Chris Blattman, a political science professor here at Columbia University. This is what he said: "At year's end, you should look back at your thoughts and opinions 12 months before and find them quaint. If not, you probably didn't read or explore or work hard enough. So come up against ideas that you hadn't anticipated, that you might fully disagree with, or expose yourself to experiences that you hadn't thought of as part of your learning trajectory, and allow them to change your way of thinking and being." My hope is that these 10 pieces of advice will help you realize, when you think about the metaphorical map of Teachers College, why you are here, and help you make the most of your time here. Even so, my hope for you is that you'll redraw the map of Teachers College to meet your own interests and aspirations, and that you will use the resources here to prepare yourself to make new and original contributions to the struggle for social justice. To quote Herman Melville, "The path to that goal is not down in any map. True places never are." And with those words, I bid you welcome to Teachers College.
I had started my doctoral study in my 19th year of military service, so I began the program here in 2006 and defended my dissertation in 2011.
I came to TC to study for my master's in psychological counseling.
I've actually come to focus more on cognitive psychology.
The attitudes and physical activity patterns of students has been my area of interest.
I'm focused on Latin America, particularly the rural areas.
I studied politics and education.
I came to TC to study in the literacy specialist program.
The education of deaf and hard of hearing program.
I've been in the Department of Human Development, studying human cognition and learning.
I've taken courses pretty much equal part in philosophy and communication.
At Teachers College, I learned that nutrition is politics. Nutrition is environmental science. Nutrition is sociology. Nutrition is physiology. And so nutrition is psychology.
Part of what I've seen throughout the work that I've done, not only with the Department of Health, but just in general in health education, has really inspired me to form my own organization. It's called the Institute of Education for the Care of Chronic Diseases.
To be able to marry cognitive science with neuroscience was only possible because of the brain trust and the willingness of professors to work together in support of what in fact has been a student's dream.
My long-term goal then will be to see if there's a trend and what changes have been made in terms of encouraging, enhancing the health and wellness and fitness levels of our African American girls and hopefully Latina girls.
There's just like a lot of excitement here about new projects and new ideas and new ways to use things that we've been talking about for decades.
I was out of school for 10 years before I came back, and TC definitely has made my brain come back to life in many ways.
Teachers College has really helped me to see that it's my responsibility as well as an educator, not just to teach reading skills, but to make sure that the students in my classroom feel like they have value.
If we want to close the racial achievement gap, we've got to do lots of things to make schools better, and we've also got to do some things to make our society function better, whether that's thinking about issues of healthcare and housing and so forth. We've got to do both.
It's an amazing opportunity to learn among the people that set the standards for education in the country.
It's just amazing to me, like having these courses with these professors, and they're writing my books, and if I have a question, I just ask the person who wrote it.
If we can deliver a great educational message via television, via the internet, who knows who that's going to reach and what effects it might have.
The value of in-classroom educators is extremely important, but so are educators like me who take a lot of the stuff from the classroom and make sure that it gets to the masses.
Arts administration is business, and I always say, I started my life as a professional artist, but my role is the bridge between the business community and the artistic community, and that is why I can be effective.
Not a lot of time goes by before I pick up the phone every so often to talk to one of the individuals who is in my doctoral cohort about a challenge or an opportunity that I'm wrestling with at West Point.
Outside of my professors, some of the biggest influences have actually been my colleagues, the people that I'm in class with every day. Just sharing stories, hearing experiences from all over the country and the world.
I came here because I wanted to learn and to understand deeply the issues surrounding education so that I can challenge the theories of apartheid.
I was around people who just let me be myself and sort of nurtured me in what I was interested in.
We know that the support doesn't just stop when we graduate, that it continues in our respective professional fields. So I think support is definitely something very key to Teachers College.
I think that I've gained a greater understanding of what it means to be a student, what it means to be a teacher, what it means to be an educated citizen.
I really want to contribute maybe through an international organization or through an NGO.
I want to enhance my knowledge base on research. I want to collaborate with other researchers, not only limit myself to New York City, but around the world.
I'm looking to do data analysis work with governments.
I will continue to write and have some ideas for a second novel.
I walk, even though I'm a new scholar, directly into a leadership role. So I just assumed the department chair role for the Department of Behavioral Sciences leadership at West Point.
I think you have to sort of choose your own destiny here. You have so many routes that you could go. In a way, I don't want to leave because I feel like I'm not done here yet.
Well, we hope you found this morning session informative and inspiring, and hopefully will set a positive tone for your experience at Teachers College. I know there's a lot of information in a short period of time and a whole lot of people, but there's more in store for you this day. Following this program, I just have a short set of instructions for you. There's going to be dedication of the 120th Street being renamed as TC Way. And if you look inside of those bags we gave you, you're going to find a little rain poncho if you need it and some pom-poms. Now I'm also prepared for the weather because I got my scrunchie because I got to put my hair back. But we're going to be out there, so when we get down to the street, we'll take a nice photo out with our little pom-pom celebrating 125 years. After that, you're going to be, but before I go further, please make sure that you've downloaded your guidebook app. Every summer, we always have orientation interns, and this year, one of our interns came to the office and when we gave her a booklet to work on, she goes, "Oh no, Yvonne, it's all about apps." So let me say, if I can rock my fanny pack from the 90s, that's not going anywhere. I need my keys and phone. You can definitely download this app. It's real easy. Please take the time to do that. Customize your schedule because it'll help give you the prompts of where you need to be and what rooms. Because after the program, here's TC 120th 5. We're going to be going into 2 separate ways. See, when you admit almost 2,000 people, all of you can't fit at the same place at the same time. So half of you are going to go to lunch and half are going to go to your academic orientations. And the program will tell you, I ain't touched nothing. The program will tell you where you need to be. Hey. Help me get this back. Will tell you where you need to be. So you just need to follow the program accordingly, all right? Following, cool. So once again, you're going to be divided up according to your program and your department. So you'll see here, according to the color on your ID, that's what department you're in. And that's not only to necessarily keep you color-coded, but for you to make friends. So that way, okay. So that way throughout the day, you get to know who else is in your department. They're testing me in the back. And you'll notice there's also some balloons right outside the Russell Courtyard after the street renaming. For those of you that go to lunch, that's where you'll go. That way it makes it a lot easier for you to go in and have your lunch. Let's try this again. Can I go to another slide? That's it? Okay. Okay. So following academic orientation, there are going to be a series of concurrent sessions. There's about 8. You can choose whichever one you want to go to, finding out what's new in New York City, what's going on with expectations of being a General Teachers College student, any kind of teacher education programs. There's about 8 of them. There's also, I think, a program by Career Services. Please take the time to take advantage of those sessions. That's how you find out more about the college. I know some of you will also have program orientations going on, but this is a great way to navigate and meet some of the other people in the departments. After those concurrent sessions, there's going to be a reception and a party in Russell Courtyard. There will be alternative beverages. Anyone over the age of 21 knows what that means. The party will start promptly at 4:30 and we'll be there until we're finished. No, until about 6:30. We just don't want you to come all this way and not meet and greet people. 'Cause guess what? Classes start tomorrow, and then you're not going to have time for anybody. So take this time after you upload your app, update your Facebook page, keep tweeting us, is that the right thing? Hashtag be the first. See, let me say, I just celebrated 21 years at this place. 21 years. I like to say I was part of TC's diaper program. But it should not take you that long to get your degree. What you need to do, though, is make sure that as you are a student here, that you take advantage of everything. Most of you are also working professionals. About 70% of our students are. And so we know you had to take the day off to come here to the orientation program. What we want you to do is to really maximize what that means. Meet the faculty, meet the staff, everybody you've been emailing, right? Put some faces to all those lovely emails. Network with your colleagues, because really, classes start tomorrow, and your life as you know it will be over. Update your Facebook page. I remember when I was getting a degree, my daughter used to tease me. She goes, do I have to email you to get a meeting just to see you? Because you feel like you just put them to bed and wake them up and keep it going. You know, you're glad when you have a partner to help you along the way, a good husband. I didn't meet him scuba diving, but I did meet him when I was looking for an apartment when I got my job here. But you really are sacrificing this time in your life, so we really encourage you to make the most of it. You'll get the email about all the program and events. Our office sends something to you every Friday. Career Services will send something to you every Monday. Make a note of what you want to attend. That's how you get to meet the faculty. You network, you start being on research teams, you start getting published. Maybe you go to a conference and present. That's why you chose to come to TC. But if you rush in to find a parking space and go to class and go home, you're missing out. And when you look at your bill and at what you pay, you really want to get every single dollar's worth of why you came here. So that's what we're trying to do today, is to present to you a series of opportunities for you to get to know each other and the faculty. And a little collations helps go a long way. So stay with us throughout the day. We're here to enjoy this time with you. Our staff has done a lot of work, and we hope that you will enjoy the day. Now, I see Deanne is in the back. Yay, Deanne. You got your pom-poms out. You want us to get ready? Is it that time? Okay, let's open up the doors. Please make sure that you take all of your, oh no. Please make sure that you take all of your personal belongings. When I say oh no, you're gonna see what's gonna happen when you turn around. We have a lovely marching band that's, that's going to escort us. All right. Enjoy the day.